So the president, through Kimani Ichu'Gwa, wants to, well, let's just say, tame the Auditor General, like putting a leash on a really good watchdog. They have proposed a new bill in Parliament. If it passes, the Auditor General won't be the big boss of the National Audit Office anymore. Now, why does this matter, you ask? Well, Kenya has a bit of, let's say, interesting or complicated relationship with corruption. Think of it like a leaky faucet. You need someone to fix it, right? That's where the Auditor General comes in. They're supposed to be the plumber, checking all the pipes, making sure no money is leaking out. Transparency International and the Auditor General's office have both pointed out that keeping an eye on public money is super important. Let's talk about what the Auditor General does. They are like the financial detective, mandated by the Kenyan Constitution. They are supposed to look at the government's money at both the national and county levels and make sure it's being used properly. First off, they provide oversight and assurance. Number two, they do audits for government books. And by doing this, they make sure that we have transparency and accountability in government. Now, they operate under the Public Audit Act and international standards. They have the power to issue reports and make sure their recommendations are followed. Now, with the new proposed bill, the Auditor General would have limited power, and that power, or the power to be, will be given to the Audit Advisory Board. This has people worried. Why? Because it could limit the Auditor General's independence. It's like taking the referee's whistle and giving it to someone who's already wearing one of the team's jerseys. Okay? If you look at other countries like the US, the UK, and India, they all have similar audit institutions that are independent. They're all doing the same thing, making sure public money is being used properly. So why does this matter? Well, this bill is seen as a threat to the Auditor General's independence, which is crucial for public trust. Essentially, if the Auditor General cannot do their job properly, it's like letting the fox guard the hen house, and nobody wants that, right? So we've talked about the Auditor General's role, their independence, and the potential danger of this new bill. But let's be clear, even with the AG, Auditor General's presence, Kenya is still struggling with corruption. It's like even with a security guard on duty, things still get stolen. Think of it like this. If your house help can sneak a few things even when you're around, what do you think they'll do when you're gone? That's the fear here. We're already dealing with significant corruption. Imagine what happens if the power of the AG is weakened or removed. And here's the really confusing part. They want to replace the Auditor General direct control with an Audit Advisory Board. Now, the Auditor General, one person was doing her job, holding the government accountable and pointing out where the money was going wrong. So the logical thing would be to act on the report they or she was giving us. Instead, the government wants to expand the team. It's like if your car has a flat tire, you don't add more people to the car, you fix the tire. We don't need a bigger team, we need better action on the reports the Auditor General has been giving us. We need to actually fix the problem they are pointing out, not create a bureaucratic layer to dilute their power. Essentially, people are thinking, if things are already this bad with the Auditor General doing her job, what on earth will happen if they take away her power? It's a recipe for disaster, and that's why there's so much anger and concern. We need more action, not more bureaucracy. So we're already struggling with corruption. Just think about it, the SHA, the education system, everything else. Even with the Auditor General doing their best. Now, they want to bring in the Audit Advisory Board, right? It's like instead of letting a skilled chef cook the meal, they want to form a committee of people who barely know how to boil water. And it gets even more absurd. Imagine this. The president isn't delivering on his promises, right? So instead of holding him accountable or, voting him out next election, we decide to create a presidential working board instead by gathering a bunch of lunatics, potentially incompetent people, and saying, you know what, now you, presidential working board, now run the country. It's ridiculous, I know. If the president isn't doing his job, we don't get to create a bigger team. We address the root problem. You either hold him accountable or replace him. You don't add more people to the mix hoping things will magically improve. That is exactly what they are doing to the Auditor General. They're trying to dilute her power and add more layers of bureaucracy instead of just acting on the findings they are already being provided with. It's like if your house has a leaky roof, you don't build a second roof, you fix the first one. And just like creating a presidential working board sounds crazy, so does creating an audit advisory board sound. It is a recipe for more corruption and less accountability. We need action, not mere committees. We need to fix the problems, not create more of them.